Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, George.
Hey, so I'm speaking with Dan. This is George for title and Dan, and you're in New York City, aren't you?
Yes, I'm in Midtown in the East 50s.
Well, tell me what's going on. You run a route and you deal with a lot of corporate vendors. Just tell the people kind of like what you were going over with me on how things are getting worse the last 2 months.
Well, I've been in business in Midtown Manhattan for the last 20 years. I own a beverage. I'm not going to name the name of the corporate. It's a big corporate beverage company. I don't want to name the name of it. They may get a little annoyed. However, it's not a reflection on them. It's just a reflection on what's been going on the last 2 years, but specifically the last 2 months, I've seen very alarming trends. For instance, on my route, I have Trump Towers, I have the General Motors building, Sony Plaza, I have the Citigroup building, and I'm seeing just, everyone knows what Citigroup did. The Citigroup building at 153 53rd Street lost thousands of workers, and the last 2 months I'm seeing mom and pops closing up like cheap tents, and it's really I'm seeing it for the first time really affect me like it's never happened before.
Now, the East Coast is actually being hit a little later because I've been out here in New Jersey, New York, and I noticed you guys are getting hit, but it's nowhere near what I've seen in Southern California. I mean, give us an example of businesses and how you know that they're cutting back.
Okay, well, I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, if you walk down Park Avenue with me in the 50s and you'd say, Dan, no, everyone looks like they're doing pretty good. I don't see any empty storefronts. However, in Midtown Manhattan, it's really not what you see. It's what's up in those buildings and what is, in this case, not going on in those buildings. You have most buildings, I would say 30-40% floors vacant.
Wow.
There's a left, and there's no one there. You have buildings that they built prior to the last fall. They can't rent out at all. They're sitting empty.
What type of businesses are you noticing going out of business?
Well, you have everyone. Well, you have your mom and pops in the street. Your pizza, your delis, and they were affected by Citigroup. Thousands and thousands of workers on that specific building gone. But I'm talking about law firms, accounting firms. They've left for cheaper rents in Jersey City, out east on Long Island, because they don't want to pay the high premium that Midtown Manhattan requires.
So there's like a migration out of Midtown Manhattan right now.
Exactly. Like I said, if you walk down Park Avenue, Madison Avenue, you couldn't tell. I go up in the buildings. I speak to all the managers over these businesses. Like I mentioned to you before, a lot of accounting firms, money management firms, and law firms, they've laid off 20-30% of their workforce. They're furloughing employees to 4-day work weeks. It's really affected. It's really affected business tremendously. I'll give you a figure that is very startling. In 2001, and at 12th Street area, I sold approximately 230,000 cases of beverages. This last year, I sold 125,000 in that same area. And this year, I'm trending down another, unfortunately, 15 to 20%.
Wow. So
yeah.
It's 50% decrease and then an additional like 10%. But you're saying in the last 2 months you've really noticed a velocity and change. What do you mean by that?
I've seen, for one instance, the tourism. In my area, tourism is, I would say, 35% of my business sales is derived from tourism. I have all the major hotels, Four Seasons New York, St. Regis, a whole bunch of others, and it's very, very alarming, George. They've told me they're down 40% occupancy the last 2-3 months.
I've been noticing that in the hotel that I'm staying at. It's like nobody's here, but it's really weird. you know, how are these hotels going to maintain? They just must be cutting staff and cutting back. I mean, what are we going to have? A bunch of empty hotels and empty office buildings?
Well, exactly. I mean, they've cut in. You just said that it's exactly true. They cut these hotels have cut their staff tremendously. And the interesting thing is that the people who patronize these hotels are mainly Europeans. So they're not coming over here anymore.
That is scary. But hey, you know, I've been watching CNBC here in the hotel, you know, and they're saying that we've hit the bottom. We're turning around. The recession's over.
Well, you know, if I had 30 years, I'd come over there and I'd tell you I was the Easter Bunny, George, but we both know that that's not the truth.
So what you're seeing on the ground is a total opposite of what they're saying on CNBC.
No, total opposite. I mean, crime is actually on the rise. I mean, Mayor Bloomberg is trying to keep this under wraps for his re-election bid coming up, but crime on robbery is up huge. We just had a dozen of our trucks robbed by armed bandits over the last, I would say, 5 weeks.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding, unfortunately, and it's real
well,
bad.
In California, when the aluminum prices were up and the metal prices were up last summer, they were stealing FedEx boxes, they were stealing parts off of buildings. I mean, people are taking whatever they can resell for money.
Yeah, well, it hasn't gotten to that point, George. I work, you know, my area is a very nice area, upscale, but crime, I mean, I have one customer, a bakery, he was robbed at gunpoint. He was assaulted and robbed. I had another newsstand, he was robbed twice in the last 3 weeks. So, you know, it's
and this is a higher number than you're used to seeing on your daily routes. You're seeing it firsthand what's happening.
I've seen it firsthand. I've been in this area for 20 years. I've been in business for 20 years. In the late 80s, the Dinkins administration, crime was pretty bad, but Mayor Giuliani cleaned everything up. And for the first time since the early part of the Giuliani administration, I'm seeing crime come back like I haven't seen it.
Are you seeing, you know, they keep talking about the bottom of the recession. Are you seeing any bottom to the vacancy in these buildings, the people that you talk to? Are you seeing any bottom at all? Or is it like, no, Dan, we got to cut even more than what we got right now?
Oh, they're saying they're very fearful, George. They're telling me they will cut more. There's a lot of fear in the city right now.
We're down huge. All these businesses are leaving Midtown Manhattan, and it's a total lie. It's not, okay, we're going to start building up back. What you're hearing on the street is, no, we're going to cut even more. The fear is, because that's what happened in California, because I've been through it. People, the higher-ups don't let the lower guys know what's going on, so it's this big pervasive fear that goes through. Well, that fear is usually what happens before more and more massive layoffs.
Oh, I agree. There's definitely fear. I definitely agree with you 100%. And everyone I speak to, even the people in the convenience stores, you know, they speak to the accountants and the lawyers. They come in, and everyone is very fearful. It's it's picking up steam. And you know, I'm concerned. I'm really concerned.
Well,
you know,
before I get you off the phone here, is there any last words of insight of you talking to all these people? I wish we could have gotten together. If I wouldn't have been doing this documentary, I would have been with you. I think it would have been really interesting. Is there any other insights you can give the people?
Insights. Well, I like to tell them that, if you know, first of all, don't believe what you hear on the news, because that's total hogwash. You know, I'm a man on the street. I speak to the law firms, the accountants, the money management companies, and I'm telling you right now that things are getting worse. And just you know, listen to George Vitale. You know, he tells you to buckle down, hunker down, and expect leaner days. You know, they're coming. I can tell you right now, because I see it firsthand in my area. And you know, as you know, New York is, as far as business-wise, one of the strong parts of the world. So.
Well, hey, thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.